Still no tripod, but I do have a microphone stand and rubber bands. So off we go. Hey, today's going to be a really fun one because I've been thinking about this for quite some time. Way back, you know, there was a point where I used to, if I was going to reference an earlier show, I would say, like, if you look back at 028, I can't do that anymore. There's just too many shows, and trying to look back and find them. It's gardening season. I just don't have the time. Heck, I got off all my social media just so I could spend every waking moment in the yard when I'm not at work. So I don't know what the episode was. It was probably the old show, actually. Way back, I gave you guys a quick tour of what I call the prepper shelf behind the pantry here, which is where I keep all my, you know, cans of beans and tomatoes and bags of rice, things like that. The old prepper shelf. Now, one important thing about that is you have to keep an eye on expiration dates, and when things go over, I get rid of them and then I start restocking. Okay? So, that's what we're doing today. I went through the prepper shelf. There's some old cans of veg that are pretty much way over the date. They'll get opened up, they'll go into compost, but they won't even turn to compost. The chickens will make short work of that. I have like canned beets, canned corn, things like that. So those will go into compost. These two, I looked at the dates here, best if used by 5/9/23. Well, heck, it's 5/11/23. So I guess it's not best because it's 2 days over. Those dates are recommendations. This is just fine. And what it is pink salmon, okay? So we're going to use these. They just passed their best if used by date, so let's use them. Let's bring them up onto the marble, see what else we have laying around here, and let's recycle these and they'll get restocked. Come on. Let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
All right, so here's the idea I had. I'm gonna go with some salmon cakes, little salmon type burgers. All right, so and I want to get rid of both of these cans, so I'll just make them both, and I can either freeze the cakes or maybe I'll take some for lunch tomorrow. So let's start like this. I've got the salmon. I had one sesame hamburger bun left in the freezer from a couple weeks ago. So we'll have it as a sandwich with sliced tomato. This is the end of a scraggly romaine head. I got a new one last night, but I'll wash this, get rid of the brown, and I'll shred it up. I like shredded lettuce on a sandwich anyway. I got a little of this tartar sauce and just stuff on the counter. Sweet red bell pepper. Got a habanero, got to be careful with that, but I'm going to use a little. I love the flavor. Scallion. This is little trimmings from the windowsill cilantro that you saw last week. I got my homemade Italian blend and my Creole blend. I'm going to use a little bit of each. Just improv again. A little half and half. And what did I miss? Oh, and this was just some old bread that I had on the counter. So that's how we're going to start with the bread. I suppose I could have crumbed it, but I'm going to go like with Grandma's meatballs. I'm going to take a little bit of this bread and going to soak it while I prep everything else with my half and half, okay? That's the end of that one. I got a new one. So let's soak down this bread in the milk, and then we'll crumble it into our salmon cakes. Oh, and I got one little egg, courtesy to you-know-who's. All right, so while this bread soaks, I'm going to open up the salmon, get it in a bowl, prep up all my veg, and I'll see you right back here. Prep is done. Let's get these cakes together. All right, here's our 2 cans of salmon right here. Looks like tuna. Kind of tastes like tuna. I wouldn't be surprised. Is that a conspiracy theory? Jack up the price, call it salmon? I don't know. No, it's got a slightly different flavor. Yeah, could be mistaken for tuna. Here's the 2 scallions, A little bit of that red bell pepper that's been on the counter, and I just used, there's that habanero, I just used a little bit of it. Don't want to overdo that. So let's get that all in. I got the tomato, and I washed up that lettuce, got rid of the brown bits. Again, a way to not waste stuff. So get a little veg in here. Here's our soaked bread crumb. And by the way, I put the rest of the bread in the blender and made breadcrumbs out of it. And we'll just get that outside crust there. Now let me squeeze some of the milk out. This absorbed pretty good. They got nice and soft. This will help keep some moisture in there. Here we go. Bread. Here's that beautiful egg. I should have left it whole so you could see the yolk. These eggs are just phenomenal. Let's mix everything together. Oh, a little bit of our cilantro won't hurt, right? Let's just peel some of the... See, this is almost starting to go to... not quite to seed yet, but when the leaves start getting a little frilly, it's time to get it off the plant and use it up. So let's just throw those in. See, cilantro, when it starts getting like so. So I just chopped this whole branch off, and there's still plenty of nice leaves growing on the windowsill. I love cilantro. I know there's people that apparently it's a chemical reaction, tastes like soap, whatever. I can't get enough of it. Indian cooking, Southeast Asian cooking. Okay, eggs in. So now let's make some patties. And that's why I have this little bit of breadcrumb here. Let's see, I like to gauge it by my roll. So let's start with this one. And then I can take a couple tomorrow. We're going to fry them all. And after frying, I could either freeze them and get some of the liquid out. Let me not do that bowl because I'll just get those too wet. Here where the cilantro was, I'll squeeze out some liquid. And now let's flatten it down into a cake. And now, quick tips. I'm going to set it aside right on the marble here next to the stove, because we have our egg in there and we want to let it set a little, and that'll help hold it together. So let's set this one down. I'm going to turn this camera off, and I'll make the rest of the patties, and I'll meet you over at the griddle. We'll fry them up. Come on, let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
All right, we're going to go with the flat griddle on these. I've got it warming up, and I've got here a little butter, but also in a little bit of bacon fat from, I don't know, breakfast a week ago or something. Gotta save that good stuff, people. So bacon fat, and I'll just put a touch of butter in there. Now, I realized after I turned the camera off, I forgot to add my seasonings. I forgot to add my Creole blend and my Italian blend to the cakes, but do not despair. I added it to the breadcrumbs. That might actually even be preferable. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to take one cake at a time, sprinkle it with the seasoned breadcrumb mixture. Tap it off. I just want a nice light coating. And then face down it goes. Actually, I'll do both sides. Give it another little squeeze to tighten it up. They are falling apart a little. But what happens is, if my calculations are correct, the egg will congeal as it cooks. And they should hold together. And if they don't, they don't. I don't think they're going to suck either way. So let's get them on the griddle. I wound up with 3 cakes, decent sized cakes. One's going to be perfect on that bun. And then tomorrow's Friday. Bring a nice salad to work like I did today. And on top of the salad, a couple of these salmon cakes. What a perfect Friday lunch at the workplace. Slide these guys a little. There we go. Gonna give them a gentle press to try to flatten them a little. You can see them breaking apart. But let's see where we go. Alright, I'm gonna pop my bun in the toaster oven, get a little toasty on the inside, and then we'll flip these guys and see what they look like on the other side. I gave these guys a little press with the spatula. Let's flip them and see what they look like. Oh yeah. See, they're going to hold together. Once they start cooking, give them a nice press. Getting nice and golden. I think I can sprinkle maybe a little olive oil. Get a little more lubrication on that grill. Number 2. Beautiful color. I got a little chunk that fell off. Delicious. Breadcrumb on the outside helps with the color, and it'll give it a nice little crunch at the end. Put that beauty back together. All right, we'll give these guys another couple of minutes. I want them to cook through to the center. You know, the salmon came out of the can, so it's cooked. We just want to warm them through. It's not like we're dealing with any raw fish. I want to warm them through, get them cooked, get the color and the crunch. So I may even give one more flip after this to kind of darken these tops a little more, and then I'll see you all for plating. All right, here we go. I'm psyched. I got just a very light toast on my sesame hamburger bun here. Already packaged up too for tomorrow. I'll make a little romaine salad in the morning with tomato, a little more of that red bell pepper. I have some red radish. You know I love my radish, especially with a nice burgundy. Let's go with a little tomato. Some of that shredded lettuce. And some of this, well, store-bought tartar. Found myself in a jam a few weeks ago, making something that demanded it without time to make the mayo. And as a bonus, I just happen to have 2 beautiful baby red potatoes in the hanging basket here. So I roasted them up. I love my little antique crinkle cut knife. Gives me no end of pleasure with these little baby potatoes. So let me dig into this sandwich and see what's going on here. I'm kind of heavy on the tartar, huh? I'm not complaining. Salmon burger from cleaning out the prepper shelf. Best if used by May 9. It's May 11. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Oh, this is great. So there we go. I'm psyched. And I got the 2 other cakes for lunch. This is actually a treat. And by the way, you could do this with cans of tuna. Or fish cakes. Crispy red potato, roasted. We'll see you for the next episode.
Come on, let's do it.